What would happen if everyone, including kids, wore masks? Is the virus spreading because people are not wearing masks?
The virus is spreading because it's trying to survive, and it survives by getting into human tissue through the respiratory tract, reproducing itself, and then going to another person. So it's going to do that every opportunity it has. Things like staying home so you don't come in contact with other people, or everyone wearing a mask, which means that if I'm producing virus and I don't know it, if I have a mask on, that means no virus goes past that mask through my nose and mouth. So I cannot possibly put virus into the environment. So yes, wearing masks is a huge way of preventing ourselves from spreading it to someone else. It's not so much to protect, it does help to protect you from breathing in somebody else's virus, but most importantly, it helps you from spreading virus to other people. And it's a reminder to everyone that we are in the midst of a COVID pandemic that actually kills people.
What are your suggestions for keeping kids safe at summer camps or daycare?
I think that for children, letting them understand what we're in and why wearing a mask is so important. Children are much more responsible than often we give them credit to, or if they understand what's going on. So with summer camps and other things, I'll be honest, my children are adults, but if they were young or if I had grandchildren, I think at this point, unless it was absolutely critical, I would not put them in a summer camp. I would not put, as a matter of fact, if this may not be probably the right thing for me to say, but I'm going to be truthful. If I had young children, I would probably consider homeschooling them this year. And I know that's probably not what the Detroit Public Schools or any other school would want me to say, but as a virologist, I just believe the risk is very high. And based on what we're seeing around the country, Michigan is doing well, but other states are just not. And so I think we're all going to be in a much worse situation before it gets better. I hate to say that, but I think we are.
Do you anticipate a second wave?
The answer is yes. And let me qualify what I just said. I know that the school systems are working very, very hard to make return to school safe as possible. My own university, other universities are doing amazing things to try to guarantee as possible that people are safe. But as someone said, it's like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall. We don't know what is going to happen with COVID, particularly when many governments and people are reopening in what some would consider a less than responsible way because of lack of national leadership. And so even if Michigan is doing well, someone traveling or coming from some other place can change things. So yes, I think we are going to have a second peak.
Are face shields better than face masks? If so, would schools consider face shields a way to protect our children when they go back to school?
Face shields are useful for people who are, say, on the front lines, like people at stores who are at registers, or people who are coming in contact with people. Shields, however, get hard to wear. They allow virus to escape or below the shield. So masks are better for the general public to wear because they're easier to do. And we just need to find the masks that are appealing to us in color or what they mean, and that they're comfortable, and learn how to use them. This is a normal part of life. This is going to be normal for us. And the sooner we get to that, the sooner we'll all get to a point where we'll feel better with it and we'll be a safer communities.
Many offices, folks are going back into their offices, and folks are getting prepared to reopen. Our organization happens to be one. And people are installing air filters. Is this actually helpful? Will this help to filter out the virus?
It depends on the kind of filters. First of all, ideally people want to be outdoors if possible, but realizing that folks have to go indoors for many work situations. Keeping space between people such that there are not multiple people together with respiratory droplets. Secondly, the air circulation is a mixed bag. There are studies that show that air conditioning flow can move virus away from a person and let it circulate in a room, which allows someone else further away to inhale it. The filters will have to be particular filters that can, called HEPA filters, that filter virus. Not all filters do that. So a typical room air purifier might not have a HEPA filter that would be efficient in filtering virus. So it just depends on what kind of air purification system is there.
I've seen some news that Michigan is on track to contain the virus. Honestly, what good does that do if other cases are still going up?
If you look at other states, Ohio, Indiana, around us, Illinois, and you of course hear of the cases in Florida and Texas and California and Arizona, where the government has not been nearly as responsible and diligent, even in the midst of political pushback, as our government has been. You wonder what's going to happen. We unfortunately are not a United States at this point, and we cannot control what other states do. We can be as safe as possible in our own state and follow the guidelines such that if someone does have virus, whether they're from this state or they traveled in, if we are doing the things to prevent transmission, the rates will be low, and the contact tracing of those cases that do occur will be able to reduce a rise in infection. So we have to follow the guidelines. That's all we have at this point.
So are pregnant women considered high risk? How can they stay safe?
Yes, there's studies being done now about pregnancy and other conditions that that could be affected by COVID. I'll just say here that anything that changes your immune function, your overall body's ability to deal with microbes or invading agents can affect COVID. So I think pregnant women, because they're undergoing all the changes, are in that higher susceptibility group. And the best thing you can do is to stay safe using the guidelines that have been put out there. Staying home when possible, using masks and sanitation if outside, avoiding people, and getting lots of rest so that our immune system, even if we are exposed, if our immune system is good and in good shape and robust, having vitamin C and vitamin D, just making sure that we get plenty of sleep. Those things can help our immune system fight off an exposure to not only COVID, but anything else. But it's particularly important right now to care for yourself such that you keep your defenses strong. That's for everyone, but particularly someone who's pregnant or has underlying conditions.
Is there anything else you'd like to share based on the data about the potential impact for the upcoming school year in the event that we all can't homeschool?
No, and I understand we all cannot homeschool, and I maybe should not have said that, but I'm
no, it's okay.
a truthful person and pretty straightforward.
No, it's good. Truth is good. Go ahead.
So yes, I think the one thing we can all do is such that when our kids do go back to school, the virus is as low as possible, is to remain diligent now, because what we do now will affect what's going to happen in the next 6 weeks, which is going to determine where we are at the beginning of school time. And so the thing I would emphasize is that we have to stay diligent. Even if our governor opens things up, that doesn't mean we have to open our churches or we have to open our bars or we have to go to restaurants. And if we are out, always wear a mask. I cannot overemphasize that. Wear a mask to protect others, to protect yourself, and to send the message that we are in a COVID pandemic, a respiratory virus. Those things will help us later to have the lowest amount of possible exposures.
So thank you, Dr. Fuller, so much. That you're a wealth of information.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.